the New York Jets all-time team. So, the first team I'm doing is New York Jets. I'm telling you exactly what I'm going to do. It's pretty much it's a team-by-team series, and I talk about, first of all, your guys' history, so you guys all know every single team, whichever one of your fans are. You get to see exactly who I would have on my all-time team if I were to put a team together. So that's for every single NFL team, and you know, some of them are combined, so like Houston Oilers and, you know, that kind of thing. And pretty much it's, you know, we're not gonna do like, I'm gonna put the Los Angeles Raiders and the Oakland Raiders. Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it from the whole franchise. Okay, and I'm really not gonna go based off of statistics much. Pretty much the rule is, I am going to base off statistics, of course. You know, that they have to have great years. They can't just be like averaging like half a sack and like one tackle. Like, that's not really. But the most person that really contributed to it is really why I put them on the list. Like, the person that really has contributed. It doesn't matter if you only played 2 years, 3 years, you know, 10 years in the same team. As long as your value is just really, it's super big. Like, losing you would be pretty much, not you, but the player itself, is what I'm referring to as you, would be a major loss to your guys' hopes of a title, you know, or something like that along those lines. So it's not going to be like an hour video of your team with marking stats. I'm not going to do that. That's way too much work. I'm just going to put down which teams I really like in terms of like which players I like at which position, and my all-time team for every single team. And so I'm starting with the New York Jets, and I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of them. First of all, they've been around for 58 years. Their overall record has been 392 wins, 468 losses, and 8 ties. They have a 12-13 playoff record. They have been to the Super Bowl once. It's their only appearance, and they've won a Super Bowl. So they are 1-for-1. So that's something to be proud of. First of all, they were a team that was a part of the AFL from 1960 to 69. Moved to the NFL, where it was officially a giant merger of the AFC and NFC. They are part of the AFC now from 1970 to now, and they have been in the AFC East since the 1970s. So the nickname is Gangrene. Used to be known as the New York Titans in 1960 to 62, but went to the Jets in 63 and has stayed put there. Yeah, first of all, you know, like I said, they've won a league championship before. There's this Super Bowl, like pre-Super Bowl era. They've won an AFL championship in 1968, which is the same equivalency as the AFC, right? And they won a Super Bowl. Okay, Super Bowl 3, as people know. I'm not sure if you guys know. The New York Jets, they have won 4 division crowns in the AFL East, 68 and 69, and the AFC East, 1998 and 2002. And like I said, playoff appearances, they've made 14 of them actually. In the AFL, 68, 69. In the NFL, that league, 81, 82, 85, 86, 91, 98, 01, 2002, 04, 06, 09, and 10. So, and right now, currently, they play at MetLife Stadium. So this is a it's a team that's very critiqued. It's a team that people make jokes about. Not a successful Super Bowl winning team yet. And I feel like they've had a lot of great teams during the years. Just hasn't clicked. Eras, really, they're not in the right era for football. They would run into, you know, when you have the 80s, you think of the 49ers. When you think of the 70s, you think of Pittsburgh and Dallas at times. Think of the 90s, you're like Dallas, those Dallas teams again. You know, you think of now New England is killing it, and they have been for a while. And just overall, like, they're just in bad times. They can never seem to really be that thing. They're always overshadowed by some super team. Like, super team, I mean like just a really outstanding team that's got everything. New York's really had to proven himself to try to stay put, and it really, for them, they just don't seem to find it yet, you know. I think they will eventually as a franchise. I think guys are bound to win another Super Bowl. Like that's just my opinion. I feel like every team will win a Super Bowl eventually in their lifetime. Not in my lifetime, I don't know, but in any lifetime, I'm pretty sure they will, you know. So, you know, like I said, a Jets franchise with one Super Bowl championship, just trying to be something special, you know. Trying to do as much as they can to be that team. I mean, this year, they're looked as the worst team in football. Like that sucks, you know. We'll see if they prove them wrong. Again, they're very overshadowed because their other New York buddies have won 2 in pretty much this era of the 2000s, 2010s, which is the New York Football Giants. So they have a lot to prove still. I think they'll get it done eventually. It just might take a little while than other teams. So the most important part is knowing who's going to be your quarterback, who's going to be the guy leading this franchise for every franchise. So we look at the Jets, and it's pretty obvious who we're going to put at QB. No, I'm not going to put Mark Sanchez in there. I'm going to put Joe Namath. Mark Sanchez had some pretty good years, so I'm not trying to diss on him. He really did. But he didn't have the impact that Joe Namath had. It's something that Mark Sanchez will, well, he may have at some point, but not in the way that Joe Namath has, which is winning a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback. And Joe Namath really did change American culture for a very long time. He was Broadway. He was New York. If you ever see Spike Lee, he'll tell you his praise. It's literally his words. He was Broadway. He's New York. He's got the fur coat, and he's got all the women around him, and he's like, right. He just has that sparkle in him. But that's not why I'm putting him up here, obviously. Putting him up here because he was a fantastic leader. He was tough as nails. That guy got hit, like, worse than other QBs ever. Like, I haven't seen a guy get up and just keep battling and keep keep fighting for a win, especially when the rules were not as strict as they are now. That's why I give a lot of props to the old time kind of football players, because they really did have to be football players and get bruised up a lot. And Joe Namath is one of these guys, tough as nails, but he's gonna make good throws at the right time, and he's confident. And he knows, he's like, I'm going to win the Super Bowl. Like, he already knew that. He called. He said the Jets would win. Okay, that's super ballsy for a guy that, not saying that his job was on the line, but I mean, hey, man, if they lose the Super Bowl, can you imagine the history change? Like, that would be like Joe Namath is an idiot. He says he says Jets win. They lose to Baltimore Colts. What happens for the rest of history? Pretty much everyone's going to think, oh, what a cocky asshole, right? Well, some people can say that. I think it's really mesmerizing to kind of go up there and say that, because you're confident in yourself that you're going to win. That's what an athlete is supposed to be like. I mean, there's supposed to be a balance of humble, but also confidence. You need to have the self-esteem to be like, yeah, I'm going to win. I think we can win. And I think Joe Namath's leadership, his confidence, and just his playability, he can play, really is the quintessential key piece for me when I had to start the Jets all-time team. I gotta have my quarterback. It's gotta be Joe Namath. So now, some teams might not have fullbacks. I'm just letting you know this right now. The Jets are not one of them. They will have a fullback because they have the personnel to have a fullback, which is John Riggins. John Riggins will be the fullback. Now, before you guys really understand, John Riggins actually started out his career as a Jet, okay, for about 4 years, I believe. 4 or 5, around there. 5, yeah. and he was a power runner, dude. No one really messed with him because he was a diesel. He was 6'2". He was coming in strong, dude. He was ready to, to really powerful run like a Marshawn Lynch kind of guy, only in the 70s, and a guy that wasn't afraid to just really take a hit. He really wanted to just be that tough nose football, great football of the 70s, where it's tough nose and stuff. And you know what? I really enjoy John Riggins, and his presence is perfect because he's going to be able to, not just if they feed him the ball, okay? Joe Namath feeds him the ball, right, for a run. But what happens if there's a running play where you need someone to block? You're going to have John Riggins blocking for who the running back I will mention later. And I think that's going to be a pretty good tandem, dude. Already, I like the whole fact of having Joe Namath as your QB and then your fullback being John Riggins. Oof. That just, it's smelling toughness right now. It's smelling like, Jets are equal tough team right now. That's just how, that's what I get from having these two guys on this roster right now on my all-time Jets team. It smells good, like smash mouth football, and I like that. All right, running back Curtis Martin. So this guy will fit super well with the New York Jets all-time team. You're looking at Joe Namath. He's the QB. Their fullback is a hard running nose, really just a power drill, dude. He's ready to just go in there and play smash mouth football. And then you have Curtis Martin right behind him. John Riggins, he could run it. He can also block. He can block for one of the best running backs of all time. Curtis Martin was super elusive, was able to just make some beautiful cuts. Just a great, beautiful, just the way he played was unbelievable. And the way that I could see it, like I said, Riggins is fullback, running back Curtis Martin. New York Jets would have pretty good offense if I made this as an all-time team. Like I said, yeah, he had a great career with the Jets. Started out with the Patriots, but ended up playing most of his career in New York, and so he has to be on this list. Just a great running back implement, and he's also able to catch. So Namath can, throw him some dump passes. He can go in there and catch it, try to make some yards from it, and he usually made a lot of yards. So, I think the whole implement of having these three guys right now is a pretty solid foundation for this team. Okay, so you have a really good running game, but Joe Namath needs someone to pass it to now, and that's where wide receiver Don Maynard comes in. First of all, these two already know each other. They've literally, Namath has been passing to Maynard for a while. They won a Super Bowl together, so they know. That's chemistry right there, right? Second thing is, Maynard is the best receiver in Jets history, so why not put him out there? The fact that, like I said, his impact is super great. I feel like Jets wouldn't have had a chance against the Colts if they didn't have a Don Maynard up there to really just be himself and just catch and run and just go after it. I mean, there's a point where he had 14 touchdowns in a year. He is very gifted. He's a gifted guy. Like I said, one of the best receivers in Jets history. Definitely, if you look at it, he is one of the best that this game has ever seen. Really, not top 10, but definitely one of the best. Someone that'll be remembered. Fantastic man. Like I said, just able to really, when you need him, he's reliable. He's gonna get those catches, and he's gonna make sure he gets some good yards and gets some first downs. And like I said, him with him and Curtis Martin and John Riggins, I mean, that's pretty decent offense as of right now. And so I'm liking exactly where this Jets team is going. Alright, so after Don Maynard, you need a second guy to kind of transition with him as your second receiver, and it's Wesley Walker. He's like the second best closest thing to best receiver of the Jets history that you can get. Unfortunately for him, like I said, he didn't really play enough. I feel like with those injuries, really, the non-playing games that he had, which was many of them, I think he would have been one of those guys that it was probably around the 600, 650 reception mark. I feel like he definitely had a potential of breaking Don Maynard's reception record. I really do believe that he definitely could have easily done that. He's just one of those guys that, like I said, was really valuable for this team at the time. You know, from 77 to 89, he really could throw and just be with the best of them. You know, he's shown it at times. I mean, you're looking at a guy that, when he's healthy, totally, he really could get some pretty good numbers, reception, touchdowns, and receiving yards. Like, he's got that fundamental down. I just think his self with the Don Maynard, it just gives a lot more options to a Joe Namath, and like I said, Wesley Walker and Don Maynard, pretty good tandem at receiver, really is. So yeah, for sure. And along with that, because of the fullback running back situation, I'm not going to have a slot receiver. I'm going to just have Maynard and Schuler, Maynard and Walker, and Schuler as a tight end. So yeah, the tight end will be Mickey Schuler. Fantastic guy, playing for this franchise. He was able to be very beneficial to them. And at 6'3", I think he would have been pretty great at pass blocking, run blocking, whatever play they would have run that had him blocking. I think he would have done a pretty great job. But also, I think he would have been really dangerous up the middle there when you're looking at, if you want to pass it to, Maynard or Walker and they're all covered. You just get up the middle. You get it to Mickey Schuler. He's going to get you some good yardage. So I believe in Mickey Schuler. I think Mickey Schuler at tight end would be pretty great. But like I said, yeah, you could see exactly how much the depth of tight ends have been through the New York Jets. It's a thin line of tight ends. Like, you don't really get to see this one true tight end, right? It's just a lot of position players that really a lot of people might not know. But that's why I do this list, so people can actually know who these guys are, that they actually were very, very valuable to this franchise. Even if their NFL careers did not pan out as they wanted to. But yeah, you're looking at Mickey Schuler, fantastic, just fantastic tight end for them. I think it'll just definitely work for their scheme. And those guys right now, the offense right now, is just not bad. Now the biggest success that you're gonna have is up front, which is pretty much the offensive line. You want anything with running, you want anything with passing, you want Joe Namath to be covered. He needs to be protected, and he needs to have a really good offensive line. So I try to develop the best Jets offensive line that I could, due to, like I said, their entire, how much impact they did. And the left tackle, Winston Hill, 8-time Pro Bowler. He was named to the AFL 1960s team. Just an all-around guy that was even named to like second team, first team, trying to be all AFL, all conference. Like, there was sporting news that wanted him to be on that discussion of being all conference, all AFL, like kind of all pro pretty much of today. And so, yeah, he was a monster tackle. Unfortunately didn't get to play all 16 of those games, but it's okay because he showed up when he had to. He was able to just really just lead this line to becoming really the Super Bowl III champs. He was a big part of that line that was successful. And like I said, Winston Hill is very underappreciated as an offensive line. He's done so much, and he has done a tremendous job out there for the Jets, and that's why I know that he needs to be in this line. Right now, that's a good start to having a line with Winston Hill at left tackle. Now, this is going to be a question to debate. Left guard, Joe Fields. Now, Joe Fields was not well known for being a guard. He was well known for being a center. The thing is, he was able to play guard at times. And so, in my honest opinion, if you're going to transition someone into a position, it's got to be Joe Fields. Joe Fields, one of the most reliable offensive linemen in Jets history, a guy that literally just played his heart out. He really did for the team, and honestly, it was pretty fantastic. Was just a great offensive line guy. Like honestly, like his value, his worth to the team. Without him, a lot of protection would be it would be all for nothing. So I do believe Joe Fields deserves the credit that he gets, which is one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in Jets history, and therefore I would put him at left guard. Put him at left guard because I feel like Winston Hill and himself can carry that left side pretty well, and I think that'd be scary to see those two guys battling in the trenches with some of the best defensive ends and defensive tackles of all time. So that should be pretty entertaining to see. Center, Nick Mangold. So you put left guard Joe Fields, and you got to put Nick Mangold at center. Pretty much because Nick Mangold is a center. He's a typical, just hard-nosed center. He's the guy you need. He's a very valuable guy to the line. Really, he's been a valuable asset to this Jets line for years, pretty much. I mean, honestly, you take him out, and your center could be wiped out. Of course, you can sub in Joe Fields if you were to get injured, but we're just thinking hypothetical. If these guys were all totally fine, they're young and they're not injured, I really enjoy the whole Hill, Fields, and Mangold. That section is pretty sweet, actually. I really enjoy that line. As of right now, I think that line can do a lot of great things in terms of really just kind of trying to create kind of a wall so Martin can get through, so Riggins can get through, and so Namath can pass without having to worry. So right guard, Randy Rasmussen. So right guard Randy Rasmussen is legendary guy out there in the Jets organization, franchise. Like, honestly, having Fields at left guard and Rasmussen at right guard, as well as Mangold at center, you're not going to have many problems on the inside that much, just because these three guys are really athletic, and they are there to block. They're there to be men and just make sure they protect the most important people, which is, the QB, the fullback, the running back. They're able to really be that, and honestly, it's pretty nice to see that. Like I said, I really enjoy going to see this line. That'd be amazing to see this kind of line. Again, Rasmussen, he was there with Namath, so he knows, and he's able to be that reliable guard. He's played mostly all the games. I mean, he started 199 games, so he's very reliable. And like I said, you need reliable line. You need a pretty good line if you want to make it into all time. Like, if you want to win a Super Bowl between these guys. And so, in my honest opinion, I really do like this line right now. And just, it's developing into a good team. So yeah, I think Rasmussen really brings toughness, and I think Joe Fields and him together, nice guard tandem. And then right tackle DeBerkshire Ferguson should close out this line. I think it's just really good protection on the outside. You're going to need one. For me, it was definitely a question of who should I put. Should I put Dan Alexander, because he did play right tackle? Unfortunately, he's not a tackle. He's a guard. And like I said, they have good guards. They have pretty good guards from this Jets franchise history for sure. I just picked Joe Fields and Randy Rasmussen ahead of Dan Alexander. But right tackle's gotta be Brick. This guy was incredible. He never missed a game for this Jets team, and it just shows like his value it's pretty big. It's pretty big. Like, you lose to British Ferguson, you lose a big portion of your line. You really do. And honestly, this man is fantastic player. So I got to put this man in here, man. I mean, having Brick with Hill, Joe Fields, Mangold at center, and then the other right guard being Rasmussen. I really enjoyed this protection. I think this protection is really good, and I think I don't think they'll have many problems. They might give up some sacks, but not a lot. They're pretty tough and really hard-working line. So I like this line right now.